Decktech for Cloud Hammer time. Oh, that's a good one. We already had this guy, now we're on to this guy, and this deck looks absolutely sweet. Now we have the usual Hammer time stuff. We do have Esper Sentinel, the Eldrazi, Colossus Hammer, and Stoneforge Mystic to blow that up with Mox Opal and Pure Steel Paladin and some payoffs. Everything just the normal. But now our new favorite boy, Cloud Midgar Mercenary, has the same ETB as Stoneforge Mystic, allows us to tutor any equipment card, but it has one other ability that is way better right now actually than Stoneforge activated ability. Stoneforge activated ability is really good if you bring in something like Caldra or in the past Better Skull to cheat in expensive equipments. Our equipments are hella cheap, but he has another ability that if he is equipped, an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers an additional time. So with Cory Steelcutter, for example, we get to make 2 Monk tokens. With something like Buster Sword, which is also the fitting combo of Cloud and Buster Sword, we get to draw 2 cards and play 2 spells for free. That's crazy. Spear of Leonidas, 2 times filtering our draw, 2 legendary horses, doesn't really matter. Double strike, get to mix and match, really nice. And now also here, as you've already seen, our last cards, we also have Cassandra, Eaglebearer, which tutors up Spear of Leonidas from our deckhand or graveyard and puts it onto the battlefield. And when she's in play, and if a creature equipped with a legendary equipment attached to it attacks, we also get a draw card, which is also really sweet because Spear of Leonidas is legendary, and also Shadow Spear is legendary, which might also come up. Other than that, there's 2 Dragonfire Blades here that in combination with the Eldrazi are a really nice protection spell actually. And that's our main deck. Also Urza Saga, Zulmay Canyon, mana base, just clean living, no fetches, just going for 4 canyons to draw cards for Urza Saga. And other than that, fast lands and shocks. On our sideboard we have Flare of Fortitude to prevent destruction, board wipes and something like this. A free way to stop opponent's interaction is really nice. Dispatch if our opponent is on something really aggressive or a weird combo creature. We might have to answer our opponent's creature. Magus against stuff like Tron. And we also get to make use of our Urza Saga Magus of the Moon interaction. Aura's Charm also gives our opponents indestructible and can be additional reach. Maybe that's sweet. Sweetest tech in the sideboard is a Trepanation Blade because it just one-shots Belcher and Upsal Space player, which is hilarious. I hope we play against one of those. 3 Soulless Jailers against Graveyard Shenanigans, 1 Soulguide Lantern, 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Welding Jar as some targets for Urza Saga. So without further ado, let's run through the league. I said without further ado, let's run through the league, but I do have a quick intermission right here. Please leave a like, follow, subscribe, anything like this. It would really help us a lot. This deck was a blast to record. I was surprised by how strong it is. And to keep it a bit more exciting and do some shenanigans, I will put the first game I've actually played in the last spot. So some of the things I said will maybe not make too much sense, but this way I think we get to highlight the power of the deck a bit better. So let's go to game number 2. Match number 2, we have Sigala's Aid. We're able to get Metalcraft and Saga to potentially pump out tokens. We don't have anything really good to equip with. We don't have anything good to equip to, so let's mulligan this. Fortunately, we don't really have... Oh, we can go for Mox Op. We can activate Metalcraft on the Mox. We don't have anything to cast off of only 1 colored mana. That's tough. Another mulligan. Now this is probably as good as it gets when we're mulliganing so much. Now we don't have any reasonable way to get Metalcraft, so let's put away the Mox and let's just hope we draw another colored source to tutor with our Cloud. Hope that the Sigala's Aid into Cloud does something. Do have our Spiral Vintage. Run out the Sigala's Aid. Next turn run out Cloud to grab something. Opponent grabs a Sparrow's Headquarter. So probably just some 4-color pile, I'd assume. Psychis Lorien. Some sort of Ominous pile, I'd assume. Sparrows is not usually the land that Rhinos or something like this plays, so I've not seen Sparrow's Headquarter in quite some time. We draw a second Paladin. That's decent, I suppose. We could grab a Buster Sword, because we do have the Cicadas 8. Can also just grab a Colossus Hammer. Make one thing really dangerous. I think I'll just go with the Hammer and try to psych out our opponent. Especially with Paladin as well next turn, we are hopefully able to draw a card off this Hammer. Opponent runs out an Arab Mesa, so I'm not 100% sure what they are doing. There might also be some weird Cascade deck. Steel Cutter also sweet. We could also activate the Steel Cutter. Well, if our Cloud was still alive, that would have been great. Steel Cutter onto it and then the Hammer to trigger the Steel Cutter twice. But let's just go for a big Paladin. Draw our card and make it so our opponent needs some exile-based removal. We also do find Mox Opal. Next turn we're able to run out Steel Cutter, play our Mox and play another Paladin. Depending on what our opponent is actually playing, they might have trouble dealing with Paladin, but with the Triumphs I'd assume that they have Wrath of the Skies right here. That's brutal. I wanted to say that, assume that they run some exile removal like Leyline Binding. Let's grab a second Saga, and now I just run out the Steel Cutter and the Mox to create a token. Yes, and let's hit our opponent for 2. Definitely not as big of a hit as I wanted it to be, but we take what we get. There's the Leyline Binding, getting rid of our Steel Cutter. This looks like a real bad matchup, not gonna lie. I think I'll just stay back and try to gain some value, especially with the Reel of Glory, able to get a hasty Flage. No need to run out the Paladin right here. Opponent Brain Search. Probably also have Solitude and stuff in their deck, so this matchup probably is just really tough, especially with the main deck Wrath of the Skies. There is a hasted Flage and we have no pressure left on our board. It's looking really bad, really bad. Well, we are able to hopefully get one big hit in next turn, because we can get Metalcraft for our Paladin, can grab a Hammer, so there is some hope left. Definitely gonna have to go for it. Hope our opponent doesn't have another removal. Equip the Construct, hit our opponent for 14. Opponent plays Leyline Binding. Does he get rid of the Construct or the Hammer? Gets rid of the Construct. I think that's a mistake, because we get to put the Hammer on the Pure Steel Paladin now. Protected. If our opponent has another board where we are done. Say it's like this, we're fine. It says a Solitude. That's another Wrath of the Skies. Okay, there it is. No real hope coming back. 2 Wrath of the Skies. No shot. Nah. Okay. Sideboarding against Omna's Pile. Magus of the Moon sounds really sweet. Maybe I also want to run the Flares actually to protect our creatures. I think we just get rid of some of our bigger threats and hope we can get under them and cheese them with the Magus of the Moon. Get rid of these and bring in 1 flare onto the game. Game number 2. This hand absolutely gets wrecked by Wrath of the Skies, but we might be able to rebuild after something. But no, let's stay safe and mulligan, and we have a Magus of the Moon. Now that's interesting. Let's keep this, put away one of our Steel Cutters. And let's lead with the Sentinel, not the Cicadas 8, because to be honest, the Steel Cutter will attach itself to a token. We don't have Cloud right now, so there's no need to run out the 8. And so this Esper Sentinel might be able to draw the card. There's an Urza Saga. That's looking mighty enticing. Run out the Steel Cutter. On next turn, our Saga will be on 2. And this Magus of the Moon will keep it alive. We have a rules change, everybody. Who would have expected Hammer to be able to utilize this rules change? Opponent casts the 2-mana Leyline Binding. We get to draw a card of our Esper Sentinel. I love it! And we can run out our Magus of the Moon to screw with their mana. So now they basically need Solitude or they are screwed. Sounds great. We're not able to cast our Pure Steel Paladin, but that's totally fine. Luring Reveal Cycle, so they are able to grab a basic basic island. They don't grab a basic island, they have Discharge, okay. So they are able to get rid of our Magus. That's unfortunate. Now if I don't make a Construct, can grab a Hammer, play Paladin and another Sentinel and hit our opponent for a lot. But I would be in trouble against Wrath of the Skies. Can I afford to play around that? I don't think so. I think I'll just have to hope that the second Esper Sentinel will be able to carry us a little in that scenario. Grab the Hammer, play the Paladin, play a second Sentinel, so that if they go for a Wrath of the Skies, at the very least we get to draw 2 cards. Oh, only one. They have 1 spare energy. So 1 card better than none. Let's re-equip on our Paladin. Or do we keep it on a Sentinel so that we get to draw a card no matter what of one? Let's try to protect our Paladin in case they have a Flage. Do you have the Wrath opponent? Don't. That's just a Meticulous Archive, but they still, because of the spare energy, have enough energy. Teferi does barely anything. Now, to be fair, our Flare also does barely anything because they get to keep the Teferi. And they scoop it up. Nice. On to boarding again. I don't think I want to change anything really. Maybe Cassandra would still be good because, to be fair, Spear of Leonidas does provide us some value. But I think we just have to kill them ASAP and try to win through the Wrath. So let's run back. Now, if this hand had any lands, we would be good. But no lands, no keep. We can activate our Cloud. We can draw cards. I think I'll keep it and put away one of the clouds. Or no, let's put away the Boros Hammer. We can actually play turn 1 cloud, which sounds pretty sick. Opponent shocks in a Hallowed Fountain or turn 1 Tamio. We've not seen them play Tamio before. Let's run out our stuff, play cloud. The question is, what do I grab? We have no way of instantly attaching something to cloud. I think I just get a Steel Cutter for now. Hammer, unfortunately, is only really good if we have the Paladin or the 8. And Steel Cutter is just straight up a good card. And also allows us to potentially rebuild after Wrath if we manage to keep it in our hand for that long. Don't know if our opponent runs Counterspell. Their entire mana base was white so far, so they might. Could run out the Steel Cutter here. I think I'll just go for another Cloud, just to grab another equipment. I think it would also just be a second Steel Cutter, so that after the board wipe that I expect to happen pretty much next turn, we're able to rebuild. Or maybe the Steel Cutters just make our opponent a little afraid of going for something. We also get to crack one of our baubles at the very least right here, because if we play the Steel Cutter, our Mox will be active again. There's the Wrath of the Skies, so properly board wipe coming, which is unfortunate because don't really have any mana left and need to draw lands then. Maybe they won't board wipe now because they couldn't get rid of Cloud. Shock in the Steamlands. Hit us with Tamio. They don't hit us with Tamio. That's interesting. Let's go to our turn. Dragonfire Blade. Also, unfortunately, only really of any use if we have something else in play. Could also just run out the Stoneforge Mystic and grab something else. If I run out the Steel Cutter and the Hammer right here, we are opening us to the board wipe that we know exists, but we also make them use it and we have things to rebuild afterwards. So I think I'll just force our opponent to use the board wipe. They do play actual Counterspell. Okay, that's good to know. Nothing else to play. I guess we'll hit for the swag points. Opponent will most likely just go for the Wrath of the Skies next turn. And we will have to draw some lands. Come back to this. We also do get to crack our bauble. Opponent doesn't do anything. I guess we can just do the same thing again. We draw another land. I did not float mana. That's stupid. That's stupid. Let's just grab another bauble to draw another card. Should have floated mana right there. Let's see if our opponent will draw another land. They draw a Flage. I don't like to see that. Play the Steel Cutter. Another Counterspell. Another Counterspell. Yeah. We get to answer our Cloud with just a Flage, which is annoying. And they will start healing up again. Also discharge on our Cloud. If we had a Zagada's 8, it would be so cute. Now they have 2 spare energy, so their Wrath is much always completely live. We do another Steel Cutter, so just hoping our opponent will try to Wrath our Mox and Bauble away. Would be great. They just draw a card. They find another land, so they are able to flip Tamio. But if they do that, they do tap out. I think what we are looking for the most is a Magus of the Moon. Correct the clue and flip Tamio. So if we draw Magus of the Moon, we are able to shut them off of using their board wipe. I also want to draw a card. Draw the last Steel Cutter as well. I mean, we do just get board wiped if we go for the cutter, but I think we have to put something on the board. This is just looking really bad for us. Run out the Dragonfire Blade to make a token. and we'll hit our opponent's Tamio for 1. So if they want to grab a spell back, Tamio at least dies, but now there's probably just the Wrath, or maybe even just the Flage, because we're not really threatening them with anything. Yep, just the Wrath. And they still have 3 mana left. Gana's 8, you are kinda late. Does our opponent have a third counter spell? They do. Let's run out the 8. Hope it sticks. Our opponent is at 10 life. They will be able to get 3 back with Flage. Opponent grabs back counter spell with Tamio. Goes back up 13. The Sentinel is kinda cute. Maybe the counter spell here. They don't. Let's just pass the turn. The Sentinel will be protected by our Colossus Hammer. And next turn I will force our opponent to use a counter spell with the Stoneforge Mystic. If the opponent escapes the Flage and tries to hit the Sentinel, I will also go for the Hammer, which will be counter spelled, but then we can play Stoneforge for something else. Opponent gets to grab back the Wrath of the Skies next one with the Tamio, so that's also a thing, I guess. Yep, there's Flage. Run out the Hammer, get counter spelled, but we draw a card. Yay! And we draw another Hammer. That's actually an insane top deck. That top deck is so crazy, you guys. That's such an insane top deck. Because now we can grab Shadow Spear with our Stoneforge Mystic to give our Esper Sentinel trample. And we can actually kill the Tamio so they don't get to rebuy the Wrath of the Skies. It's a Tamio. Opponent actually jumped away their Flage. Why? Now if our opponent doesn't draw another Wrath, it's probably good. But they do have some time to draw it. They have a Leyline Binding, okay, that's also really annoying. We find a Magus of someone, so we are able to shut off their mana next turn. They get rid of our Esper Sentinel, so we're looking for a big boy. That's also a big run out the Magus. Float the white mana. And also float the white mana. Let's cast our Hammer. What does our opponent get rid of? Attach to our Stoneforge Mystic, so that if they go for our Magus of the Moon, it stays protected. They still take the hit, I mean. Yep, there's a Leyline Binding. What do you get rid of, opponent? Because we split the love, it's tough for opponent to deal with something good. They get rid of the Stoneforge Mystic, so they are still color screwed. We're both in top deck mode, and our opponent has no other colors. We draw another Magus, that's pretty sweet. So we get to lock them off their mana for good. And we just get to beat them really slowly. That's nice. This second Hammer was so clutch. I really thought the game was over. And now it's looking pretty good. With one of those balls, hit our opponent for 5. And if our opponent draws a removal spell for one of them, we have the Dragonfire Blade to protect. They don't. We find planes. Had I equipped with the Dragonfire Blade last turn, they would be dead now. But I wanted to stay a cheeky interaction spell like this. Nice. We won the match. On to match number 3. Match number 3, we won the die roll, which is huge for our deck. And this hand looks pretty decent, I guess. Sentinel into Cloud is nice. Now having the spare in the hand is somewhat annoying, but definitely manageable. So let's just run out our Sentinel. On the play, Sentinel turn 1 is just, feels so good. Even though it's not the same as it used to be. And there is another Sentinel. That looks fun. What do I grab with Cloud right here? Might even go for the Buster Sword, but probably not good. Probably should just grab the Cory Steel Cutter. So I will run out another Sentinel. I won't, because I did stupid. Had I played the Sentinel first, would have been able to do so. Well, no, I just played a Mox for no reason. Wrong order. Happens. Still getting used to the entire talking and playing thing. There's still lots of mistakes happening because of that. Crazy how other people are so used to it. Hope I will be used to it eventually. Opponent grabs the Sunring Falls, so some Wizard variant maybe Zoo, maybe also some other control deck, maybe even browse a VV. Snow-covered island, so I'd assume it's probably some sort of Wizard deck. And there's probably a counter spell coming. And let's try for the Steel Cutter, which will probably just get countered. It doesn't. So second Esper Sentinel it is. Make a token with the Steel Cutter. Opponent gets rid of one Sentinel right now, so we don't get to draw a card. But the second Sentinel hopefully will also slow them down for at least a little bit. Hit our opponent for 4, and I think we're looking pretty decent. Worst case scenario, our opponent is playing a Vivi variant. They run out Vivi with lots of free spells now and just kill us. But I hope that's not the case. No, opponent just plays a land that passes a turn. That sounds great for us. So let's run out of the Garda's Edge. Does not get countered. Let's just go for Spear of Leonidas. Probably good enough to get countered. Does not get countered. Let's try to equip it to Cloud. And probably there's just a removal coming. No removal. Okay, let's move to text. Now there's a removal coming. Okay. Grabs a basic mountain. Snapcaster Mage for another lightning bolt. So we do get to draw a card off of House Elf per Sentinel. That's also sweet. And it's a bauble. I'll just keep it to make sure we are with the Stoneforge Mystic. Nah, let's just keep it because maybe our Stoneforge Mystic will get countered. Should have not attacked with the Sentinel, but I pressed attack all. Oh well, we get a bigger hit in, I guess. So in case our Stoneforge Mystic gets countered, we still get to trigger our Steel Cutter. Even though the Stoneforge Mystic itself gets to activate. There's a Steel Cutter on the opponent's side. Wizard Steel Cutter. That custom Mage also activates Steel Cutter on its own, also in the opponent's turn. And a bauble. Who is a better Steel Cutter deck opponent? Opponent looks at their own library. They're probably really desperate. Does our opponent attack us? I think not. Probably just keep it back. They are down to 1 open mana. Probably will just be able to kill our opponent now. Oh, they fold? No, they just play a tapped Sort of Auric Springs. The best card our opponent could have is probably a Space Snare to deal with our Stoneforge Mystic. See if our opponent's got a Space Snare. They don't. On the sideboarding. Sideboarding against Izzet Wizards. I actually don't know if I really want to change anything. I think I'm just happy as it is for now. Maybe game 2 will bring in the flares, but don't really think the graveyard hit is worth going for. Basically has no real targets. Let's just run it back. The deck is perfect as it is. Game number 2. Now unfortunately this hand has no lands. If there were lands, Cloud and Paladin would be awesome. But as it is, unfortunately we have the mulligan. Sentinel, 8 and a Saga. I will keep this and just put away the Sacred Foundry. So our Sentinel gets to annoy them properly. And that the Garda's 8 with a Saga combo will be able to close out the game. Opponent keeps their card on top. Run out the Sentinel. Also just look at what they kept on top. Is Spell Pierce. Okay, so next turn no Garda's 8 for us. We still run out the Saga already. I think I also wait a turn with that. Just play the Vantage, hit our opponent for 1. I think I want to make sure that our Saga gets the maximum value with the constructs. Hold on our Sentinel, that's unfortunate. Opponent has a Steel Cutter, but nowhere to activate it now. Run out the Saga and the Garda's 8. Pass a turn now. The Steel Cutter probably is really dangerous for us. Opponent is at 5 cards. If they're able to activate it a couple of times, we are in trouble. They don't activate it now. That's lucky for us. Let's run out a Sunbaked Canyon so we can create a construct and protect it with a Dragonfire Blade. Our opponent end of turn go for Snap Bolt. Trigger the Steel Cutter. Would be sweet play. Let's just attune the narrative. Nothing else, please. And a Lightning Bolt just to trigger the Steel Cutter. Okay, we take it. Opponent casts an Expressive Iteration, so they are looking to trigger the Steel Cutter once more. And they've exiled attune the narrative. That's a good way to trigger the Steel Cutter. I wonder if they have any payout for the energy. Or if it's only Galvanic Discharge. Our opponent misses the land drop right here. Would be really nice for us. Because it would mean that we are able to make another construct and protect the construct of a discharge with a Dragonfire Blade, because they wouldn't be able to Spell Pierce and we would be able to put a hammer on it. That would be huge. There's a land. That's great. Let's make a construct, make another one, and now we'll just put a Colossus Hammer on it. Run out a second Saga. Now our opponent is on jump duty. The other opponent has any good way of dealing with a construct. So let's run out the Stoneforge Mystic for now, because it also dodges Spell Pierce, and we're able to set up for a really big turn next turn. I think I even grab a Shadow Spear for the trample, and the Lifesteal also sounds pretty nice. Opponent more or less only has this turn to really kill us, because with Shadow Spear and Colossus Hammer there's no way they get to raise. Opponent finds a Snapcaster Mage with the iteration, so they're probably done for. do get to trigger the cutter, they get to hit us with a bolt, but we can just block with our construct and not really care. They bolt our Stoneforge, sure. Let's just block the monk, and next turn we get to kill them with a construct. Nice. Can even run out the Pure Steel Paladin to draw some cards. They have a Force of Negation for that. Now that's actually really annoying. Force of Negation right here is really annoying. Did our opponent for a bunch. Did not think of Force of Negation right there, to be fair. They just take the hit. So they realize that they have to win this turn, or else they're dead. Everything on the Paladin is protected, but we don't have anything else, so we might actually die right here. They're able to trigger the Steel Cutter and bolt us once more, basically. We have one real big blocker, but not getting the lifelink of the Shadow Spear is brutal, actually. There's another Snapcaster. They go for Bolt or Iteration. They go for the Bolt. They will hit our face. There are two more spells. Just the Preordain, so we would go to one. They just find another non-creature spell, we are dead. Keep a card on top, so they probably have one. Yep, that's the second Preordain and we are dead. Rough. On to game number 3. I think I like the way we bought it. Let's just run it back like this. We are on the play. You need to realize the fun thing I just said. I like the way we bought it, because we didn't. We have a way to activate our Mox on turn 1. We can run our Steel Cutter and Cloud after, and we have the Shadow Spear, we'll definitely keep. In Sentinel, we trust. I think I'll also just play Bauble and Mox turn 1. Don't think I'll play the Shadow Spear now, because I might want to keep it to activate the Steel Cutter. Maybe I should have played it just now, so they hopefully don't have Force of Negation. Draw another land, that's sweet. Run out the Steel Cutter first to put on the pressure already. No Spell Pierce. Juicy. Let's see what our opponent will draw. Just the land. So let's hit him right in the face. That's a good board turn 2, and drawing another Steel Cutter is even better. If he draws something to activate it, would be insane. And land drop actually allows us to trigger it. Let's run out the Steel Cutter. Our opponent has a counter spell. They probably just counter the second Steel Cutter. If they don't, I don't know if there's a way for them to win without Wrath of the Skies. And I mean, they don't have Wrath of the Skies, so maybe they have a Meltdown. That would, Meltdown would be brutal. Meltdown would be brutal, but I don't respect the Meltdown. Just grabbing the third Steel Cutter to really rub it in. So opponent, here's a handful of monks and the Nespa Sentinel. What do you got? Nothing. Apparently the answer is nothing. I mean, the discharge on the Sentinel. But that's late, just so we don't get to draw a card. We have the 3 monks and the Cloud. Opponent is only at 8 life already. It's looking good for us. And they just cantrip. GG. On to the next match. On to match number 4. The sand needs another mana source, but if we find one, it's so good. I will be greedy because we are on the draw. And hopefully the turn 1 Sentinel, if it gets killed, will allow us to draw a card. Because we would be able to go so incredibly wide with all the Steel Cutters and Cloud. And the Pure Steel Paladin would be able to equip something to Cloud. And we're probably playing against Eldrazi right here now. That might be tough. Let's see. Definitely with the sand, if we don't draw something nice. I just want to draw a mana source to play the Paladin. First Cloud, then Paladin to Hammer. And if we draw something like an Inspiring Vantage right now, there is still hope. Opponent pays for the Sentinel. What do you find, opponent? They do have Sire of 7 Deaths in their main deck. Annoying, but they grab a Sowing Micro Spawn, which might be even more annoying. Run out the Bauble, play a Saga. I think I'll also just run out the Hammer. Hit our opponent for 1. And next turn we'll get Micro Spawn, which is so fun. I'm definitely glad that this card with 2 cast triggers was printed. That basically half of Primeval Titan on a cast trigger and also Stone Rain. Opponent does not go for the Stone Rain. That's interesting. What could that possibly mean? Let's see what our opponent will draw. They draw Ugin. So we are fucked. Let's run out Cloud, I guess. I will grab a Shadow Spear for some trample. Pass the turn. So next turn we are able to play Paladin into Shadow Spear, draw another card, grab another hammer off of the Saga, so that if they go for Ugin and only exile one of our creatures, which is a crucial part, if they only exile one of our creatures, we are actually able to kill them, which would be so sweet. Please don't have an answer for our Sentinel right here. There is none. So if our opponent just plays Ugin here, and only gets rid of Cloud, we get to draw a card off of our Sentinel, and we just get to one-shot them. They just pass the turn. Holy, what's going on? Float a mana with our Saga, grab a second Colossus Hammer. That must mean that they have Kozilek's command, because they expect it to be a Kozilek's command so much. Let's just go wide for now and make them use something. Now these two Steel Cutters, if unanswered, will also go completely crazy. I just want our opponent to tap out, because if they tap out, 2 hammers with the Shadow Spear will be so sweet. Yeah, there's a Kozilek's command coming. They're scrying and creating token. So they're just setting up to play Ugin, and they'll have Ugin with some spawns to spare. Our board is actually really threatening right now, so only Ugin is also not too bad. But maybe they have all the dust in the main deck, which would still hurt. Would lose our creature that could attack, and that would really hurt. Maybe sort of play all the dust in the main. Opponent does run out Ugin of one of our creatures that if just something stays, we can also give Obvious the Paladin haste with the Steel Cutters right here. So basically only something has to stay. They get rid of one of the Steel Cutters, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. And even if they play another spell and get rid of the other Steel Cutter, use the Paladin, suit them up. Yep, they make mana with the Ugin. They have a Talisman, so they get to exile the other Steel Cutter. One more spell is still fine. 2 more, I guess. And there is nothing more coming. That's looking pretty sweet. Not gonna lie, that's actually kinda great. Let's suit up Cloud and let's hit our opponent. Nice. On to sideboarding. We have Sigada's Aid and Urza's Saga to potentially carry. We did win the first round. Sigada's Aid is really nice with Saga. I'll be reasonable, I'm looking this Magus, but it's 2 Sagas. Oh, that's still too juicy. Let's keep it. Put away the Steel Cutter. We have 2 Baubles to redraw some more. We are on the draw, so maybe we'll find something. Opponent casts an Ancient Stirrings turn 1, and they find Ugin. There's no Ram turn 1, really love to see it, and there's also just the plans backed. We don't have a red source now. That's fine. Opponent will draw an Utopia Sprawl. Sure. We'll let our opponent just draw that. Then we can go for Stoneforge Mystic. And then we're just hoping to find red mana to cast our mana. From the Talisman our opponent played last game and them putting black on their Utopia Sprawl, I don't think they play Kozilek's Return. There's another Utopia Sprawl on top, sure. We draw another card and we find the land. Let's run on the Stoneforge Mystic. Let's grab our namesake and let's try to suit up Magus of the Moon next turn. Should have possibly played the Saga right now to have access to our Construct Saga next turn. Probably been a decent choice. Opponent has green and black on this forest. That's also interesting. Let's just run out Magus and get rid of our opponent's colorless mana. If they do have Kozilek's command, they are able to float double colorless for it, and they would be able to cleanly answer this Magus. And if they do that, we are in a lot of trouble, because they'll also be able to make enough spawns to possibly cast Ugin next turn. But there's no real way for us to play around that. That card is just cracked. And they only make the spawns. They don't get rid of the Magus like this, because they still get to play Ugin and they get to scry. So we're still in a world of pain. Opponent keeps all 3 cards on the top. That's great. And they take a big hit from the Stoneforge Mystic. One plays another Eldrazi Temple, and they'll probably just cast Ugin, get rid of our Magus. Yep. Do they have something else going alongside of Ugin? They get rid of the Stoneforge Mystic. Also interesting. They uptake Ugin. Guess let's run on the second one. I do kind of want our opponent to get rid of it, so we're able to cast Obvious with Paladins. But we might be able to OTK them again if they get rid of our Magos and our Saga pumps out some tokens that won't be able to be exiled by Ugin, and we grab Trample and Colossus Hammer. We might be able to do the same thing again. With them being able to draw all the additional cards off of Ugin right now, it's kind of unlikely. And the Talisman getting rid of our Magos of the Moon. This forest is a forest wizardry. Double green and black. Opponent cast Emrakul's of Promise, and let's just go to the next one. And now we're on the play, which hopefully makes a big difference. So let's keep it like this, and let's go to game 3. Game number 3, we are on the play, and our hand looks okay. Double Cigalas, 8, Dragonfire Weapon Sentinel. I will keep this. I hope I'll just draw a good equipment, because if we do, mine actually gets kind of bonkers. And if they have Utopia Sprawl at their ramp, the Sentinel will be able to draw us a card. Opponent cracks a Misty, so there's just Utopia Sprawl coming, and we get to draw. Now if we just find something good right here, we might be able to just end it all. Nothing special. Opponent puts Utopia Sprawl on black. There's the hammer. Sweet. Run out box. Run out the Gardas 8. Run out the hammer. Catch it. Hit our opponent for 11. And if their removal spell is a fatal push, we have the Dragonfire Blade to stop it. Overgrown Tomb. Shocks it in. What? What do they have to shock it in? Shocking that in just seems suicidal. And whatever they play, we definitely get to draw a card. Just another Utopia Sprawl. Do you want to pay 11 so we don't draw a card, opponent? They don't. That's weird. And the Utopia Sprawls are Overgrown Tomb. That's also interesting. On green. 3 mana again. Malevolent Rumble. Sure. They choose a Whim Swept. Also couldn't choose anything else. Opponent getting rid of the Cosmic's Command right here is pretty good for us. But they also don't have colorless mana to cast. So actually not the biggest thing. This Magus of Summon also Stone Rains them. Clean Living, 2 mana. Now if our opponent plays Culling Ritual, that would be brutal, but still okay. Just another Malevolent Rumble, doesn't matter. Culling Ritual, our Magus would still survive, so that's fun. And opponent doesn't really find anything. They grab an Eldrazi Temple. They don't play their Windswept Teeth. They play the Temple, okay. Just one more equipment, so our Magus is also lethal. That's not it. Just hit our opponent for 13. Okay. Block the Sentinel again. Yup. Go down to 4. The next turn, the Magus with the Dragonfire Blade will be lethal. So 1 blocker is not enough. 5 mana. What do they have? Yeah, there's no colorless mana, opponent. No command for you. And they just pass the turn. Sweet. Let's run another Sentinel. I want to draw more cards. That's it, our opponent. For Giga Lethal. Nice. On to the last match. Last match. We are on the play. Won the die roll. That's good. The Gardas 8, Stoneforge Mystic, and stuff. Let's keep it. Not the best hand, but just a hand you expect to have with this deck. Drawing Cloud would actually be pretty cool, because Cloud with Steel Cutter and the Gardas 8 is really cute. Turn to Cloud, we draw another hammer. That's also interesting. I think I just run out the Steel Cutter first. Can also be really tricky with Steel Cutter and the Gardas 8, because if you stack the triggers correctly, you will make the token and you can then equip an enchantment that equipment that triggers the Steel Cutter onto it. Don't grab the Raucous Theater turn 1. That's a play I've not seen in a while. Only deck that immediately comes to mind to me that plays Raucous Theater is Creativity, but they don't play Ring of Glory. So okay, Hollow One. It's a Hollow One deck. And Hollow One usually struggles to deal with real big stuff. So do I just go for big Steel Cutter shenanigans? Run out the 2 hammers? I think I will, because even if our opponent gets rid of the token next turn, our Pure Steel Paladin will be able to equip stuff. Equip. Hammer lands. Do we get to equip? There's a boat. There's a boat. Now we do have Metalcraft for our Paladin next turn. And Steel Cutter once again being really sweet because it gives Trample and Haste to our Paladin. So if our opponent does not play something like, okay, they don't, something like a Burning Inquiry, or they don't have removal for our Steel Cutter, they die. Let's try to equip with Hammer. There is a second bolt. There is a second bolt. That's unfortunate. Would have definitely preferred them to not have a second bolt. Also, Bowmasters, please not Bowmaster into Burning Inquiry, opponent. There's the Bowmaster. Please don't. That actually hurts. To be fair, Inquiry wouldn't be the worst thing. It grows their army, deals some damage, but hopefully we're able to keep one of our tutors and are able to grab a Shadow Spear with that and find a land maybe. Because we're missing all the land drops right now, Inquiry actually does potentially hurt our opponent, even though they have the Bowmaster in play. Cycle Street Wraith. Opponent plays a hasted Fear of Missing Out. And they discard a Faceless Looting to get Delirious. Now there's a Burning Inquiry. And now this Burning Inquiry is dangerous. Now we're getting actually hit by a lot. But we find Pure Steel Paladin and a Mox Opal. Okay, now we get hit by a lot. But as long as we don't die, opponent just misses a land drop. There's nothing else coming. So we don't die. And now our opponent dies to Pure Steel Paladin with all the equipments. Chorus Steelcutter just being the best card in Magic. Ooh, there's Hollow One coming as well. But only one. Play the Saga, play the Mox, play the Paladin, make a boy. Doesn't really matter. Because we'll just equip our Paladin with everything. Our opponent does not have enough toughness to block it. That's crazy. 23-23 hasted, trample Pure Steel Paladin. That's crazy. Maybe Hammer's actually the truth. Onto sideboarding. Against Hollow One, Dispatch might be good. Good answer against their one-drops that might snowball out of control. Let's trim on Sentinels, I think. Even though it reduces our Metalcraft, opponent does play Bowmasters and such to answer it easily. And we are on the draw right now. So I think I want answers to their one-drops that might snowball. And I want to keep our tutors because opponent will hopefully be in trouble if we have something with a hammer and Shadow Spear. Let's try it like this. This hand just needs another land or artifact creature. We have the Cicadas 8, we have Opal Hammer and the Cassandra. I keep it because we won game 1 and just hope we draw another land. Or maybe our opponent just plays a Burning Inquiry and find something else. So let's see what the slot machine does. Just play the land, so let's run out a Sentinel. If they remove it right now, we get to draw a card. Would be neat. Opponent just plays a Rosh Theater again. But they mill a Phoenix. That's a really good hit for them. Opponent just passes the turn. Crazy. Let's run on a Mox. Play Hammer to get Metalcraft. Fortunately, we have to do it this way. And they even have a Bowmaster to get rid of Sentinel. Now that's the best answer they have. That's pretty bad. Still don't have Metalcraft. Opponent has Burning Inquiry and Nethergryph. And they even have something to follow it up with their last card. It's a Hollow One and Decktech Phoenix Mana. We discarded a land, Stoneforge and Cicadas 8, so we are in a lot of trouble. They don't go for the Phoenix. Would have gotten rid of most of their graveyard, I guess. Unfortunately, we're not able to cast the Paladin. I think we just let, even if we run out our Steel Cutter, can't activate it, can't play the Cassandra. No, we'll just let on to game 3. Orc Bowmaster is a good card against Esper Sentinel, but it is what it is. I think I still want to keep the Cassandra package. Maybe because of Bowmasters, it's worth getting rid of. And bringing in the Sentinels and the Flares instead. Let's run it like this. I want to cast Cassandra and the Spear at least once. Let's go first, and this looks great. Let's keep it. Turn 1 Sentinel, turn 2 Stoneforge, into find Steel Cutter most likely, or maybe we can go for something else because we also have the Cloud follow-up. Opponent has turn 1 Marco and cycling is Street Wraith. That's fine. Let's play our Saga, run out of Stoneforge Mystic. Do I grab Hammer or maybe even the Shadow Spear? I think I just grabbed Steel Cutter. Run out the bubble now, so we have Metalcraft available. Let's just pass a turn. Now, Burning Inquiry would be really annoying because maybe they get rid of all of our good cards. But if Burning Inquiry right here does not get rid of our good cards, or maybe we just draw something like a Pure Steel Paladin, sure. We'll keep this bubble for Metalcraft. And we find a Sunbreak Canyon. That's also sweet. Let's just run out our Steel Cutter, play Canyon, play Cloud, trigger the Steel Cutter. Yep, I want to equip. Now we'll just grab 1 Colossus Hammer, take our opponent with our Monk token. We're hoping to find a Cicadas 8 or a Pure Steel Paladin. So this other target will probably just find Shadow Spear next turn, didn't want to grab it here because maybe they have Bowmaster into Inquiry again. They cycle a hollow one to buff them Marco. Now that works, like they get rid of our monk token and get to eat it. But cycling the hollow one like this seems really weird. So now I'll just look at what they draw. They draw another Marco. That's okay. Them using one of their hollow ones like this as a common trick. Pretty neat trick. I did not expect that, but also totally okay. It takes us with this 3-0 Marco. Just take the hit. I definitely want to keep a creature alive. We find another hammer. Finding something to equip is pretty unfortunate. I think I'll just make a construct and try to grow it big. Hope that my Shadow Spear will be able to do something later. Run out of one hammer already. No Steel Cutter trigger this turn, but next turn I get to equip my Shadow Spear on the big construct. Hopefully get to turn it around like that. Or it just hits us in the air with the Phoenix. That's absolutely fine. And we find a second Steel Cutter. I think best course is literally just to equip this construct. Run the Dragonfire Blade to grow some more. And for now just stay back. We get to block them. It's a real awkward board stall, but the fact that they did not bestow something with the Phoenix is really lucky for us, I think. Because that means that they also don't really have any dangerous attacks, and only this Phoenix doesn't do too much. It doesn't looting now. That's annoying with their Marcos, but still fine. They get rid of another Marco and a Phoenix. Now that's the point where it's getting dangerous. Phoenix being able to buff a big Marco right here, or maybe the Nethergirl, but the Nethergirl for sure not. Being able to grow this Marco is really scary now. There's a second Nethergirl. Phoenix bestows a Nethergirl. Now we're in trouble. That's 8 damage in the air. Basically have to find Pure Steel Paladin. If we do, we're in business. Pure Steel Paladin top deck. Pure Steel Paladin top deck. Okay. Sometimes you just have it. Rip our construct. The unfortunate thing is, if I cast the second Colossal Hammer right now, I would be dead to a lightning bolt. I don't want that to happen, so I'll only attack with only the 2020 construct, but then play Colossal Hammer and equip everything on the Pure Steel Paladin just post-combat. Yep, they have to absolutely chump everything away, and we get the 20 life right here. That's a life swing they're probably not able to recover from. Now let's just put everything onto our Pure Steel Paladin, make it safe from removal with the Dragonfire Blade, give it haste and trample with the Steel Cutter, make it ginormous with the Colossal Hammer. Even though our construct dies now, we don't really bother anymore. Give it the life link with the Shadow Spear, and run out a second hammer as well. We can get to make another blocker with the Steel Cutter, which is neat. Draw a card with the Paladin. They get to kill our monk. Oh no! They ping our face. I respect that opponent. And the second hammer on the Paladin. That's the turn, and probably just GG. If they manage to kill us from this point on, where we are at 22 and the ground is blocked, they don't have any ground attackers, I will be impressed. Opponent flashbacks the looting, but I doubt there's anything they can find. They go down to 2 by Sacral the Street Raid, and shock the Blood Crit to go out another looting. Nice. Let's head to the Afterthoughts. Match number 1. Playing this guy. So let's see what we will draw. First hand we have Cloud, 2 hammers. Fortunately no real way to utilize those. I think we can do better. Cloud could grab us Steel Cutter. We could trigger the Steel Cutter. And if we draw a Cigar Blade or Pure Steel Paladin, this hand is actually gas. And we can go for the turn 1 Cloud in theory. No, we can't. We have to play the... let's try it. Let's see if Cloud will be good enough. Maybe even just a Buster Sword on him early might do work. Let's just play the Tap Foundry, run out a Bauble. Let's see what our opponent's got. Opponent appears to be on Yawgmoth or something similar. They have a Young Wolf on top. And we have our redraw, so maybe we'll find another good piece. Stoneforge Mystic doesn't really do too much in this deck. In this deck, Cloud actually is just better than Stoneforge. And there's another hammer. So let's grab a Steel Cutter, because I don't think I'll be able to connect with the Buster Blade. And with the Steel Cutter, we'll be able to go a bit wider. Next turn, we can go Steel Cutter into Mox. Opponent has a Soul Cauldron. Soul Cauldron alone, luckily enough, doesn't really do too much. So let's run out the Cutter, play the Mox, trigger our Steel Cutter. Yep, I will also just run out one of the hammers already, just to have our Mox Metalcraft active, because it still allows us to bluff something, and next turn I'll possibly just equip our Cloud with the Steel Cutter to trigger for more token. One of the fun things with Cloud and Steel Cutter that you're not only able to tutor it up, you're also able to double trigger to make multiple monks. So next turn, if we go Stoneforge, we can grab another cutter, or we just go equip double hammer to trigger the Steel Cutter. Opponent has a second Yawgmoth, so they are pretty close to just comboing off. We find a Shadow Spear. I think it's actually just best to equip our Cloud and go for double trigger. We just hope our opponent doesn't get to kill us. But we are going really, really wide, so that's also pretty nice. Only one of the new tokens will have haste, unfortunately, but that's okay. Now let's hit our opponent with our monks, and if our opponent doesn't combo us next turn, we might be able to get them. I mean, they do still need some stuff. They would need something like an Insight and a Yawgmoth to get infinite life. It's not over. Opponent blocks with 2 Yawgmoths on the monk, so they want the +1/+1 counters. Yep, that happens. Yawgmoths come back and they take a hit for 3. That also, both Yawgmoths with a counter makes it a bit harder for them to combo up actually, which is good for us. Because now this Yawgmoth won't be able to go infinite because they can't sacrifice their Yawgmoths on each other. Another land that unfortunately does nothing. Probably the best thing is to just trigger the Steel Cutter again by grabbing something off the Stoneforge. Fortunately, we don't have mana to equip the Shadow Spear or the Steel Cutters in as well. If we equip the Steel Cutter, we can't go for the Stoneforge into something because of our Inspiring Vantage. We could crack the Sunlight Canyon, because we would still have 3 mana for Stoneforge into Hammer. Let's do that. Let's see if we can find something of this canyon, because now our Inspiring Vantage is active and we do find a bauble. So we are able to double trigger like that. I think that's probably the best thing. Now equip Cloud, play bauble, browse triggers on our monks, and the third hammer. There's even more monks. Only one of them gets to attack, but our opponent is really low on life. Now I will also just run in with Cloud, I think, to pressure our opponent's life total, even though they just get to eat it with Yawgmoth. Maybe I should have equipped the Shadow Spear on one of the monks, because this monk did not even get to attack, so we would have been able to get life and had trample on another monk. Let's just run in with everything. I think at this point I just want to make our opponent's life total as low as possible. Opponent takes a free block on the Cloud and trades away the 2 Yawgmoths. Probably just kill the monk that still gets to attack. They shrink the 1 Yawgmoth, and now they target our 1 monk. Okay, let's have a look. And basically just grab Colossus Hammer. Next turn we can go for Paladin into Hammer and start swinging at our opponent, making them jump block their stuff. Our opponent's upkeep, I will crack the bauble, because we will be able to cast the Paladin and the Hammer with our lands. Opponent has a Culling Ritual on top of the library, so we have to be quick. If they get to cast that, we are basically dead. Opponent finds another halfling, and they have an underground mortuary here, so just hoping they don't have another untapped land, basically. If they do, we are screwed. Don't really think I can afford to play around too much right here, so I will just run out my stuff. Play the Hammer, draw a card with the Paladin. We find another Paladin, so next turn we would actually be able to rebuild somewhat okay. Let's go equip, and let's hit our opponent with this big ass Cloud. They do take the hit, so they have the mana to play the Culling Ritual. Our opponent unfortunately makes a lot of mana with that ritual to deploy other stuff afterwards. But we are able to grab another Hammer of the Saga. We do have Paladin and Mox afterwards. Maybe I'll also just make a construct, not quite sure yet. Opponent finds Yawgmoth with the first one and finds the second halfling with the second. Does our opponent also have a Soul Cauldron? If they do, we are in a lot of trouble, because unfortunately Pithing Needle doesn't really do too much against Cauldron. There is the Cauldron. Cauldron is really rough here. Opponent still is at a really low life total. We find a Cicada's Aid. I think I'll just make a construct because our opponent is so low, and I'll grab a Shadow Spear to hopefully get to hit our opponent. Opponent just gets rid of the construct immediately. Could also grab the Lantern to stop them from having Graveyard or most of the Cauldron, because they do have Grist and the Liberator right here. Maybe still just a Needle on... I think it might still be the Needle on the Cauldron, even though it doesn't stop them from having Yawgmoth. It stops them from being able to grab out Liberator or Grist. Grab the Needle, let's disable their Soul Cauldron, so their Graveyard is basically dealt with. And now I'll run out this Incarnate's Aid. Opponent can draw a lot of cards. With the Spymaster's Void even more. There's a Hapatra, so we won't be able to resolve any small creatures anymore, and they also have a Boseiju as their last card. Now that's probably lethal. With the Spymaster's Void together, they can sacrifice loads of stuff, buff their Yawgmoth, and they also just have the Ballista right here. Hapatra only draws the cards if it does combat damage. They can just combo up with Yawgmoth pinging itself, go for a Spymaster's Void, and make a 35 damage Yawgmoth basically, so we are dead. On to the next match. What a leak, what a leak. Now onto the Afterthoughts. Deck is great. The deck was absolutely insane. Cloud was nice. Steel Cutter with all those cheap spells is insane. Esper Sentinel, I think, is actually really underplayed card in Modern right now. Maybe there's a home for it in some energy shells. We've already played a Core Steel Cutter Esper Sentinel energy deck in the past. If you have not seen it, definitely check it out. The deck was great. And turn 1 Esper Sentinel on the play is still just really annoying for most opponents to deal with. The only thing I'm not quite sure about is this Cassandra package. We've not cast her, this did not come up. We had her in our hand and she looked clunky, but it was also in games where we were kind of mana screwed. So maybe she's good enough, definitely would need to play more games with that. Other than that, the main deck is so clean, it's so nice, it feels so good. Maybe you can even shave one Stoneforge Mystic for possibly one more equip effect, because I felt we were somewhat light on those and we were not really able to utilize our hammer plan, but we were able to just use the power of Core Steel Cutter to advantage and win with that. The sideboard, this Boros Charm looks really weird. Like, this could possibly just be another flare if you really want the protection. And the Trepanation Blade just seems so cute. I would have loved to use it. And the Magus seems also really nice. I think the sideboard is pretty well constructed as it is, but this Boros Charm probably should be something else. Definitely can only recommend playing this list. It felt really strong. I think Hammer Time might be big on the menu, boys. Egg probably really happy right now. And we'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed.